what's up, players? This is Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and right now we're getting ready to have a six-pack challenge match with Potsy and Tino on the big podcast show. Holla at a player.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Potsy Pants Network brings you its tag team champions of the world, the Potsy and Tino Show. That's right, the four-time world champions, maybe even five-time world champion podcast partners. Thank you, Teddy Long, for that intro. I thought about trying to get some other intros this past weekend at GalaxyCon. I really didn't I started walking up towards Kevin Nash, and he was just so intimidating that I didn't actually try to get him to do a podcast spot for us.
I could have just got my friend's son to do it, since they're buddies now.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he's taller than Kevin Nash.
Yeah. He might have been able to intimidate him.
Let's go ahead and say hello to Joe in the audience. Joe, I will be reaching out this weekend, hopefully, about the Junior High Horrors holofoil cover. There are
Turner.
So anybody who was not able to get one during the whole San Diego Comic-Con, Michael Turner, one of those will be available for you as well. I know that both of you were actually asking about it, so I appreciate that. And we'll make sure that you guys get those. Tino, did I say our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song? It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. I don't think I did.
99.
I don't think I did. But we're going to do what we always do and start this show with a little thing called What's Up With You?
What's up, man?
Because I have a feeling you're going to mute me on mine. So
I had a ball. I mean, I had a pretty good week. Started off with we called it a two-city tour. So Friday night, my duo, we played at Morrisville. We played in Morrisville at the New Ruckus, which was awesome. And then Saturday night.
Leaking.
What?
So the roof started leaking.
Oh God! And then Saturday we were in Clayton at First Street Tavern. Yeah, the roof started leaking. I was in there because Rob came out, and where he was sitting, I was talking to him, and I went to stand by him. I was kind of leaning on the bar stool beside him, and all of a sudden it's like, what the hell was that? And
yeah.
So
it was right on. It was like, what?
Well, it hit me in the arm. That's what hit me.
It was
hit you in the head.
You know, like it made that slap sound though. It wasn't like a soft water tap. It was like it had some gusto to it.
Oh, it said, "Oh, fuck you and your head."
Pretty much.
And so,
welcome to the show, Chris Barrett.
Yeah, other than that, man, like I said, it was exciting. Had a good time. Had good turnouts for both nights. I can't complain. And then back, and then got up Sunday. Went to church as usual. Hung out with the fam, Nicole and Matthew. And then today I went back to work. Came home. Took Matthew to get his haircut Thursday. Excuse me. This coming Thursday is Haley's 22nd birthday, so we'll be chilling with her that day or that evening. And then I don't have any show this weekend, so I'm pretty much. My next thing on my radar, is Thursday, for her birthday, 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I had a pretty interesting weekend.
Mm-hmm.
A Friday night, I got the biggest named follower on my Twitter account that I've ever had.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Because I had such a great weekend that as things were going so well, all of a sudden, I knew that the shit was going to hit the fan, right?
All right.
That's kind of what it felt like. So I was like, holy shit, like I just got the biggest follower I've ever gotten on Twitter and blah, blah, blah. So I sent Tino a text message and I'm like, hey, Tino, check this out. John Cena follows me on Twitter now. And Tino's like playing with his bandmate, so he's not paying attention. So I'm like, well, shit, if Tino's not and messaged me back about this. I knew that he was with his bandmate, so I knew that it was going to take a little while for him to see it. But I was like, oh, let me reach out to some other people that I know. So I reached out to Shavar, and Shavar was like, holy shit, man. And then I reached out to my buddy Billy Nichols, and he was like, holy shit, man. And I reached out to a couple people, and I was like, yeah, I'm one of like 425,000 followers of John Cena's, but he has 13.8 million followers. And since he actually follows me at this point, what I can truly say is that
you see Michael Turner?
Every time I post something, it shows up on John Cena's feed. Until he unfollows me.
You're gonna keep putting stuff on there. You're gonna like, look, I'm tired of this guy.
Well, no, I'm not sitting there and adding, like the at hashtag stuff or anything like that. But it is kind of cool knowing that like I didn't do anything special to get John Cena to follow me. Although I did send remember how like when Twitter first started, like anytime somebody followed you, you're like, hey, thanks for the ad. So I did send a, hey, John Cena, thank you for the ad. You're an inspiration to everybody, and I appreciate it. So that was Friday. Saturday, I upped the ante. Like, GalaxyCon was here in Raleigh, right?
Yep.
And I had no intentions of going.
Why?
Like I was like, I'm not going. I'm not paying the $50 a night or anything else to get into this show. None of that bullshit, whatever. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna let it go. But then I don't know, like Thursday of that weekend, I was like, you know what? Let me reach out to one of my buddies that I know is actually like got a table at the show. Because typically when you get a table at the show, they give you 2 badges. And I know that he goes to the shows by himself. So I was like, let me reach out to Sam, see what he says. And Sam's like, bro, if you want my other ticket, you got it. Like just come by, sit there, talk to me. The fuck are you doing?
Smudge, it was driving me crazy. Sorry.
It literally went as you did that. So
sorry.
Yeah. So my buddy Sam was like, if you want the ticket, like I'm not using it, you can use it. I'm like, fuck yeah, right? So I'm like, okay, let me just find a day that Kevin Smith's going to be there. Well, Kevin Smith's only there on Saturday. And for those that don't know, I have been trying to meet Kevin Smith for about 25 years at this point. And wow. I'm not joking. Like, we're literally talking like 25 years to meet the guy. I have been in the same room with him, Tino, six times before that. And never once got up to him to talk to him.
Okay.
I don't know about all that, Chris Barrett, but anyways. So I sit there and I know a couple people that like, typically like do things like security for the shows and stuff like that. And I walk up to my buddy, and my buddy's like, "Yeah, I've got a meet and greet with him and a photo op at 4:30." And I'm like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, and I'm allowed to have up to 3 other people with me." And I'm like, "Well, who do you have with you?" And he's like, "Right now, just Keith." I was like, "Bro," and he goes, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "I wasn't planning on being here till 4:30, but now I will be here until at least 4:30." And mainly because like the other area where I could have had plans for that day, I was never invited. So I just said, well, if I'm not going to get invited to the other option of plans, I'm going to do what I can with Kevin Smith, and I'm going to do it as cheap as possible, right? Because like to get into GalaxyCon per day is like $60.
Wow.
That's just to get in the door. That's not to meet anybody. Kevin Smith's meet and greet photo op was like $95.
Wow.
So I was like, well, shit, that's like $155 if I just want to be. Well, the show was sold out for Saturday, so you couldn't even pay to get in that day. So luckily, I already had a pass to get in. And then I also had a friend that was actually already paying for the meet and greet. And I told him that, I'd throw him some bucks or whatever if he wanted to get in on this. Well, dude, because our other friend Keith had a VIP pass for the show, it meant you go to the front of the line to go in and meet and do the photo ops. So we were the first group to go in to Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith wasn't even in the photo op area when we walked in, but I'll tell you, when he walked out of the green room, he reeked of green. Reeked.
Oh God.
Reeked of green. Okay.
Oh, God.
So he took full advantage of the green room, if you will. And I dropped off a couple of my comics, made sure that he got a copy of The Mangalorean and a couple of my favorite issues of Junior High Horrors, and also a copy of Ex Liefelds, just because I thought, let's go with what I know are the issues that I think are the funniest, and give them to him. And he's like, it's funny because we're the first group, so they're not even ready to take the picture or anything, so we're getting extra time with them. And he's like, all right, kids, let's go ahead and do this the way that we do. And he comes up and he gives everybody a big man hug, and pats you on the back a little bit and whatever. And then he's like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a test photo. And then after we take the test photo, we're gonna take the real shot. And we're like we're all like, you mean the money shot? And he's like, yeah, bro, the money shot. We're gonna take the money shot, So then he's like, all right, everybody getting close. Go ahead, touch whatever you want, feel whatever you want. It's no big deal. Like just get in here. So like he wasn't one of those guys that's like, hey, we're gonna have the plastic barrier up or whatever so that you can't touch me or whatever. He was like, fuck it. We're just gonna man hug everybody, and but he gave us all a hug, and before the pictures, he said, all right, you guys stay here. I'm going to go out here for a second, and I'm going to go say hi to everybody else. So he literally said hi to the entire place, and then came back, and he's like, all right, now we're going to do the picture. And if you guys look at my Instagram or my Facebook or whatever, you can see the picture. And I legitimately said, I totally expected everything from that point on my weekend to be downhill, and it wasn't. The rest of my weekend was fine, but Monday was downhill. So yeah, so there's that. And like I told you, Tino, I had announced the new Immortal comic book series, which I'm really excited about. And I'm associate editor on a book called Lucky right now, where we're trying to make sure that we get the best possible cover work for it. So my buddy Troy and I are working on, he keeps sending me the images and everything and saying, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, I like that one. And then he's like, okay, you like that one? Do you like this one? I'm like, no, I don't like that one. And we're sending it back to the artist. And artists all have egos. So the artists are, when I say I don't like that one, the artists are like, bruh, come on. Like I'm not redoing this. And it's like, well, then you're not getting a cover on this book. Like we want this book to actually go over better than a fart in church. So we need artwork that goes off better than a fart in church, you know? And I'm joking about that because all the artists are really good, but some of them it feels like they don't quite understand or grasp like who's involved with the project because there's a guy that actually works for DC Comics that's writing the book. So the fact is like this could be your big break, right? Like this could be your opportunity to really sit there and set yourself aside from other people. And I don't know if everybody's really feeling that because I don't know if it's really been said that way. But like I said, I'm associate editor right now. I don't have a cover or anything else with the book. I'm just sitting there like going, okay, let's look at this, and no, yes, whatever. So, but anyway, so yeah, so there's all that. And we should get onto other stuff before I have a break here. So we do have to talk about things like Dynamite and Rampage, which unfortunately I did not get to see. But I did get to see. I did watch SummerSlam and Raw because I thought those were the most important shows to watch this week. So
why didn't you watch Dynamite?
I don't remember. I don't remember why I didn't watch it. I think I actually was watching Dynamite, but I don't think I heard it with sound, so I don't remember any of it.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
I mean, I don't remember it because that's the day I helped Haley move, so I don't think I...
Well, let's just go ahead and talk about... Do you remember this one?
Vaguely. The only thing I do remember on Dynamite.
What I do remember from Dynamite was Bryan Danielson wrestling against Daniel Garcia, and Bryan Danielson losing the match, which I thought was a really interesting play, with it being his first match back. And them playing up the fact that like he kept kicking him in the head. Like with Bryan, like I know that with pro wrestling, you sit there and you try to, what's the term? You try to
suspend belief.
Suspend disbelief, but you try to blur the lines of reality and fantasy with it. And by having them target Bryan Danielson's legitimate long-term injury issue, I have a feeling if they continue to fake kick him in the head multiple times, at some point somebody's going to connect and restart those issues.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the idea of Daniel Garcia getting a victory against one of the top names in AEW, albeit by dirty measures, right? Because other people from the Jericho Society came down to make sure that he would get that victory. But at the same time, Daniel Garcia is nowhere on the level of Bryan Danielson. Like you brought Bryan Danielson in and immediately put him up against your world champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then after putting him up against your world champion, you put him up against like other top stars like Jon Moxley, and now you're putting him up against Daniel Garcia.
I think there's a reason. I think they're going to try to do something with Garcia. So somehow, they have to bring Garcia, make him believable.
Well, they kind of did that with Wheeler Yuta, right? But Yuta didn't win those matches against Jon Moxley.
No, but apparently, if he wins next week, he's going to have another shot at it.
Well, do you think he's going to beat Chris Jericho?
Because how many times has he lost to Moxley?
Twice.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, they're not going to put Wheeler Yuta up against CM Punk when CM Punk's good
That's
to
what
go.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking if Moxley does slip on a banana pill, the belt will definitely go back to Moxley. I think they might try to put it on Wheeler Yuta just to test the waters with him and see how it goes. You know how they used to give somebody the belt just to test it, and then they lose it like the next night just to see how the fans would react once they won that belt.
So I'd be more excited to see the whole like fake, like he runs off with the belt and then it gets turned out that he didn't actually win it. So that way the pictures look like he stole the belt, you know? Like there's been times where I've sent you the text message where it's like, holy shit, Jon Moxley just won the title. And you're like, what? And then you're like, and then you read like Bleacher Report and you're like, you son of a bitch. You know, like you know what I'm talking about. It definitely happened with Dean Ambrose when I was like, he just stole the title and then he ran up the shit. I don't see AEW doing that with the interim title. So what I am interested in though, and I hate to say this, I am really interested to see whether or not Chris Jericho can beat Jon Moxley for that. Like, because Chris Jericho's in a position where all of a sudden he's the top heel in the business again.
Yeah, but there's no usually. I don't know. I guess in my mind there has to be a story behind it. CM Punk comes back. The only story he's got is they want to meld those titles together. He didn't have anything going with Jericho. I don't think he really had anything going with Moxley either. So I'm just interested to see, you know, who has that belt when Punk comes back.
But you know as well as I do that Jericho versus Moxley is a bigger match than Yuta versus Moxley.
Yeah, but then again, we go back to your bitch about WWE guys getting a run at the title. And that's what you've ranted about for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks. So why not give a fresh face, a fresh person a shot at that title? Because you know what's about to happen. And I was looking back here and it's I don't know who said it in the comments over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments, by the way. And thank you guys.
Barrett said Trips is going to bury TK, and I absolutely believe it, because one of my biggest bitch about WWE is they're not taking young talent, they're not building anybody up to face Roman Reigns, so they keep bringing back the Brock Lesnar's and the Goldbergs because they're not building anybody else. Triple H is back. I think Triple H is going to start building people up.
Well, and we're obviously not talking about Triple H right now, but I'm
saying if Tony Khan wants to keep up, he's going to have to in some way do the same thing, which goes back to my Wheeler Yuta. If not Wheeler Yuta, give somebody else besides a Jericho or besides you know what I mean? That's not WWE, as you say. Give them a chance to win that title.
So I don't disagree. I just think pushing Yuta over Jericho and over Moxley is a bit much. So I don't see it happening.
Okay, I agree with that, but I don't want to see Moxley versus Jericho.
I do, because it's always a good match.
You know what I mean, though. They're not giving anybody else a chance to at that title.
Well,
besides, in your argument, WWE guys.
But they literally are going with the top two guys that are currently in position. And you're right. Like let's be real. You're absolutely right that they're two WWE guys. And that's always been the problem, right? There's only been two non-WWE guys to win the AEW World Championship. That's Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, right?
And that's what I'm saying. That if
And
he wants to keep
and
up with Triple H's back,
and technically Kenny Omega did win, was a WWE guy. So like, and I'm not saying that he was ever like anything special in WWE. Like he wasn't. That's why he got let go. That's why he went to New Japan. That's why he made a name for himself. So literally only one world champion in AEW has actually been only an AEW world champion, and that's Hangman. Here's the thing though. Right now, it's all about trying to get a couple of those fans that might have went, oh shit, Vince is out and Triple H is running Raw now. We might see a boost in ratings on Raw. What do we do to get that? And what's the number one thing that you can do to get that? Take two guys that are already known from Monday Night Raw and put them in the main event on your Dynamite show.
They're pulling pulling a WCW.
You're not wrong, man. Like,
and what happened? And I'm not arguing with you, but what happened there? You know what I mean? They're gonna Triple H is about to Raw Smack. It's about to get good. And Tony Khan was coasting. Tony Khan was coasting because everybody wasn't like you. Now want to watch Raw. SmackDown was the only good show they had going for NXT for a while, but then SmackDown was a really good show, and so Tony Khan was able to slip in there. Now,
I'm never going to say that Tony Khan's been coasting.
Well, not coasting, but you know what I mean. He hadn't really.
But here's behind what he's been doing. He's been putting a roller coaster on. A constant roller coaster. He sits there and like puts as much into the 2-hour episode as he possibly can, and it is WCW. Remember, WCW gave us Goldberg versus Hogan for the world title on free TV.
Well, you said that. You said that too. AEW's done that already too. Gave us a pay-per-view match on free TV. So yeah.
I mean, Jericho not even Jericho, but Hangman versus Danielson.
Yeah.
Hangman versus Adam Cole on Friday night. Like we've had these big matches. I mean, hell, Christian Cage beat Kenny Omega on the first Rampage. For a title. So absolutely, I'm sitting here going, Tony Khan's not afraid to do that. The problem is that Tony Khan isn't really thinking about long-term booking. He's thinking about instant ratings today.
And I want to touch on another subject while I'm thinking about it before you forget. Two things happen in one match.
Sure.
The first match, what's my boy's name? Ricky Starks defended his title. He won that match. Got the big head. Invited somebody else to come out there, and Hook came out there and fucked him up. Okay.
Well, what's funny about that?
What's that?
I was sitting out at my normal Wednesday night place. I was sitting out at Ruckus, and Terrence is working the bar, and I go, "Hey, Terrence, Hook's about to beat Ricky Starks. And after he does, Will Hobbs is getting ready to turn on Ricky Starks." And I legitimately said that. And it gave me the salmon jacket vibes of Mark Henry, the way that he hit him.
But you weren't paying attention, but you had the sound off, so you didn't hear what was going on.
I did hear what he said, where he was like, "Me and my man Hobbs."
Before that,
right?
Starks was turning face.
He was
giving a babyface promo. As soon as he said "me and my man," because while he was giving that, see, I'm watching the body language. While he's giving that babyface promo,
did that like grab you by the shoulder, like wrenching, He was
still talking Ricky Stark shit. Then he started sounding like a babyface, and you can tell the look on Hobbs' face when he realized, hey.
Because you saw them chiclets.
Yeah. And then he damn clotheslined the shit out of him. But what I've been
Dude,
saying
he
is
clotheslined his fucking ear. Like he probably busted an eardrum.
Oh yeah. But Hook, while it's not a recognized title, what I've been saying all along, I think they gave Hook that title again to test the waters to see how people are going to react to Hook with a title. I don't think he's going to have the FTW title long. I think
Yeah,
the next
you're not
one up,
wrong.
he'll
You're not
probably
wrong
go
at all.
to he'll probably move up to the to Wardlow's belt. I'll be surprised if
I think that they'll retire the FTW title because I think you'll have a moment where Taz will sit there and like present him with that belt this week or something and give him a big hug because Taz is his dad. And then he'll be like, this isn't the title I want. So now it's time to start working towards that other one. And I mean Hook's a baby face already. Ricky Starks is now a babyface. Hobbs left the family, right? Like you heard it when you heard Taz sitting there go, "What are you doing, Hobbs? What are you doing?" He wasn't sitting there saying, "Get him, get Ricky." That's not the way Team Taz. He was like concerned for Ricky Starks. So now you're gonna have Ricky Starks and Hook, and maybe even Danhausen. I don't know, all part of like the same little group.
the trios belt.
I just truly hope that if that is the case, that they don't all become the comedy act.
Yeah, I don't think Hook will become a comedy act. I think because he's not one now, even though he's with Danhausen. Danhausen is the comedy part of that. Hook's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hook's not really into that comedy thing. So I don't think if they were smart, they wouldn't. They would keep him just like he is. Just a kick ass, man, a few words, coming in there to fuck you up. That's a mini Goldberg right there. So
yep, especially with the fact that he hasn't lost a match yet, from what I've seen. So I agree.
So those are the things that stuck out to me on Rampage. I mean, on Dynamite.
Well, Chris Barrett sits here and says more WWE guys have won the AEW championship than AEW guys. Absolutely. I mean, only technically two AEW guys have actually won the title.
It was Hangman and who?
Kenny Omega.
Okay.
So those are the only two that really made their mark. I mean, Kenny Omega is an EVP. So
one more thing happened at not Dynamite. Yeah, it was Dynamite. The Young Bucks tried to walk up to Hangman to talk to him, and I think they were trying to make up with him, and then all of a sudden the Dark Order came out. So are we thinking I don't think Hangman's going to go back to BT or to the Elite, do you? Because when the era.
So here's why I'll say no. Because as long as Adam Cole is in the picture of the undisputed Elite, I don't see Hangman being part of that group because they have made it seem like there is legitimate heat between those two.
But here's the thing.
I think they are just professionals and they're doing the business, but
the undisputed Elite, I think, are going to come back in their own thing. It's going to be kind of like an NWO thing. I think it's going to be them. I think it's going to be the originals. And I'm thinking they have the Young Bucks, and I'm thinking they might be courting Adam Page just in case. Well, it'll work either way. Adam Page can join them, and if Omega doesn't come back, they've got him. If Omega does come back, cool. It's still 4-4. You know what I mean?
So I think what's going to happen is this. Is Adam Page will sit there and turn them down because that'll make Adam Page a bigger baby face. Like Diamond Dallas Page, right? Doesn't even have to give them the diamond cutter when he tears the shirt off. He just has to sit there and say, "Sorry guys, I already got friends." Like that kind of thing. With Kenny Omega, I see Kenny Omega coming back being part of it and immediately turning on Adam Cole. Like you come back for one big War Games match or something like that, and then all of a sudden, like at the end of that match, you sit there and you just decimate Adam Cole, right? And then that sets up Adam Cole versus Kenny Omega, and it sets up the Undisputed versus the Elite. Because I have a feeling that's what they're just going to be called, is the Undisputed at some point.
Yeah.
You know, because right now they're the Undisputed Elite. That would be the white NWO and the red NWO, right?
Yeah.
So like I kind of see what you're saying there. The sad thing is I don't want them rehashing that thing.
There's okay, and I get that. There's if they put a different twist on it, if they do the exact same thing, no. But if they get like a swerve, some kind of twist on it, I think I'll be all right with it to check it out.
Sorry, I'm not in the right frame of mind tonight, but I'm really trying to hold this together for the show. There are certain storylines that you can bring back every 20 or so years, right? There are certain storylines that you can bring back every 5 years if you really do them well, like the milk truck and the beer truck, right? I just think that when Tony Khan goes to that extreme to sit there and do that kind of thing, he's doing it in a way that shows that he's just an uber fan, rather than the right guy to.
I just sent you something. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, is it a new message? Like, do I have to pull it up?
Send us a text. It should be something you should open.
I'm not surprised by what you just sent.
Yeah,
we obviously will get to it. And we'll get to the whys of that statement too. But
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm apprehensive and excited. So
I will see why you're apprehensive. Hey, when we get there, we'll talk about why you're apprehensive.
And sure. But you know, with this Undisputed Elite thing, I don't want them to rehash or try to rehash the NWO popularity because the NWO got so popular that they added so many members to it that it ended up splitting off into 3 different groups: the LWO, the NWO, and the NWO Wolfpack. And I don't need that. You know, like it's good having 4 or 5 members in a group. Especially, and I think that especially with the trios titles finally being announced, it makes sense to have groups of 3 more than 4 and 5. 4 and 5 allows you to sit there and say, okay, we're going to have a guy that can go after the world title, a guy that can go after the TNT title, and a guy that can go after the trios titles, or 2 guys that can go after the regular tag titles and 3 guys that can go after the trios title, you know, whatever.
Or have free.
The problem with all of that at this point is that AEW is doing too much with too much talent too. Like they have to keep adding titles just to keep people happy. Like, we know there are people backstage that aren't happy now. Like if I were Brian Pillman Jr. right now, I would not be happy. If I were Malachi Black, I wouldn't be happy.
There are people who in AEW now want to go back to WWE that Triple H is there now.
I'm going to say that's internet speculation. There obviously are, because there are people like Johnny Gargano or people like Adam Cole who had amazing relationships with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So amazing of a relationship, in fact, that when their contract ended, they stayed longer to finish their storylines.
Naomi and Sasha are back, and he bought Dakota back.
He's going to bring people back. He's got the book and he's got He's got the head of talent relations. He's going to be able to bring people back now. Is he going to be able to bring everybody back? No. Tony Khan's already sat there and said, fuck all you people that think he's going to be able to bring all these people back. Some of them have 5-year contracts, like Adam Cole, which doesn't make Tony Khan look like a good guy either, because he's basically bitching and moaning about the fact that, like, he now knows that he has real competition for somebody putting on a good competitive show. You know, whatever. Anyways. We done with Dynamite and Rampage?
Yeah, let's get to SummerSlam. I want to talk about SummerSlam.
Well, the only thing with Rampage, you've already mentioned it, is the fact that, like, Wheeler Yuta and Chris Jericho had that conversation where they basically said that they're going to have a match on Wednesday night to determine who faces John Moxley at, like, Quest for the Best or whatever the fuck they're calling it, because they just keep coming up with stupid names. Just call it Dynamite. You know, like, it's just Dynamite.
Yes.
Guild for the build, you know, like, or build for the guild. Like, I don't need all this bullshit. Just you know, get to the real shit. So, anyways,
Can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
Who?
I forget what it's called. Oh yeah, so yeah, because it was Claudio was out there in the ring giving a promo, and Jericho decided he wanted to jump off of commentary. It's Quake by the lake.
See? Tell me that's a name of a. Tell me you ran out of names for wrestling events.
Quake by the lake.
By the lake.
A quiver in my liver.
I'm gonna say right now, if the ring doesn't move like this during at least one match, then it doesn't matter. Anyways, SummerSlam. The biggest party of the summer, Tino. The quote-unquote first show that was completely written by Triple H and gang.
Was the fucking bomb.
Was it? Go ahead.
First fucking match. Okay. First of all, the first match was which blew my mind. They started with the Bianca and Becky match. That match, it was a banger. I thought it was a good match.
It was a banger.
It was a good match.
Becky separated her shoulder.
Yes, and it's 3 days old, and you probably haven't seen Raw. So, spoiler: if you don't want to hear it, you better stop it now, because we're going to talk about this.
Big time Bex is over.
She is over, but why is she over? And I was about to get to it. So Bianca won the match.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we go to Raw.
Okay, but it started here. Bianca won the match. Becky came in.
Ding dong. Ding dong. Hello.
Do you want to fucking do this, or you gonna let me do it? You told me to go ahead, and you're fucking being rude.
I'm sorry.
So Becky comes in, and she gives her the left hand, and usually, hello. Usually, when she gives you the left hand, you know something's going on. When they stick out the left hand, you know something's going on. I thought she was going to attack her or hit her, but no, she shook her hand, she gave her a hug, she rolled out of the ring. Then Bailey's music played. Bailey came down first. Then she came out with Dakota, who looked totally different. I thought it was she looked like the other one, Tegan Knox. I thought it was Tegan Knox at first, and it was. Why is Io's name Io Sky now?
Because they have to own it.
Is her real name Io Shirai, or is she using that somewhere else?
She used it before.
But she was okay. So I don't understand. She used it in NXT though. So why couldn't she carry it over to the main roster?
Okay. So what's Casey Catanzaro's name now?
Something stupid. I know what it's something.
It's because WWE wants to own the property, right? So the only way they can own the property is, okay, even if they got hired in with their original names in NXT, they're changing their names as they come to the main roster.
Just like, was it Alba Fire? Was Kaylee Ray? Now his album, which
Walter is Gunther.
Okay. So they came down. Io Sky came down. they jump in the ring, and lo and behold, Becky gets back in the ring, and there's a stare down.
Right.
And
we've got T in front.
Helios.
T, I'm doing, buddy. I'm doing okay. Thank you.
We'll get them there. That's true too. But I think that's yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what was I saying? Oh, before the show, it was saying that Triple H is the one who made Becky a face. Becky was going to go out of SummerSlam still a heel. Triple H made that change. So like I said, it started right there, which was excellent. I loved that Becky came back in and standing side by side with Bianca.
Correct.
Banger match. Then you had Logan Paul and The Miz. What did you think of it? I was surprised. That match didn't suck as much as I thought it was. Miz is good, so Miz can carry him, but Logan has some skill. He had a little bit of skill.
So Logan Paul doesn't have anything going on, so he can practice at the Performance Center all he wants.
But Monday said he signed a.
No, he had signed a month ago, man. Like he'd been practicing, but you know that he was practicing for this match with The Miz, probably at the home in like Cleveland or something.
Well, they were saying that who was it? AJ was training him. So who you think was The Miz? Or you think it was AJ? Because he did hit the phenomenal forearm.
So, I mean, is that storyline that AJ was?
Yeah, so I'm asking, do you think a storyline? You think it was The Miz that trained him, or do you think AJ actually worked with him?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them worked with him, because they needed to have him look the part immediately.
What about Axel? Because Axel's the one he was the one helping to get The Rock ready. Do you think he still training people too?
No, rumor is Axel actually just recently got re-released again. He was on a trial run as a producer, and then they released him. Now it doesn't mean he won't be back. I mean, like Curtis Axel is a solid hand, and obviously can wrestle different styles to get people ready. But so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like Curtis Axel was actually backstage and or in town with Logan Paul, actually teaching him how to do it and making a downside guarantee or something as a former wrestler.
What you think of that? What you think of that skull crushing finale he hit?
I mean, hitting Miz's own finisher on Miz looked fine.
No, what I'm saying, the way he got into it, he reversed into it, because I think it was the Miz going for a move, and Logan flipped out of it and flipped into the skull crusher and hit him with it, which I thought was kind of cool.
The whole match was pretty well put together. I mean, they broke tables. He jumped off. He did
Shame it, man.
Well, I was going to say Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah.
Off the corner turnbuckle through the table, which was solid. And here's what I worried about with those matches, though, Tino, is that like immediately after the Logan Paul Miz match,
Pat McAfee.
Well, no, there was like a 4-minute Brock Lesnar trailer. And then right after that, there was like a 4-minute Roman Reigns trailer. And then they went to the Pat McAfee match. There was like 8 minutes of.
I didn't notice that.
There was like.
Of course, I'd watched it. I fast forwarded it.
Dead air. Yeah, well, you were watching it on demand. There was a massive amount of like dead air.
They probably had to put the table back together.
Put a table back. Shut up, man. Like
you don't think they had to clean that shit up?
One of those 4-minute promos, but you don't do both of them back to back.
Yeah, something must have happened.
So I mean, I was sitting there thinking that Miz and Logan Paul ran short, but then come to read that Logan Paul and Miz ran long, so other matches had to cut time. And I'm sitting there going, why didn't they cut time out of that 8-minute promo?
It's
like, what the fuck? That was the big faux pas that I saw, and I was sitting there with somebody who doesn't normally watch pro wrestling, watching it with me, and he said the same thing. He's like, why are we watching a 4-minute Brock Lesnar promo? You know, and normally when they show that promo, what's the next thing that happens? They go right to that match.
Yeah,
But
that's
that was the end of the first hour, and they're sitting there doing that. The Pat McAfee match. So here's.
I like McAfee when the Corbin was coming out and you're bum ass Corbin, and you look up, he's got like a chorus of guys up there, bum ass Corbin.
So my issue with this match is that one, you put it on right after the other celebrity match, right? So do we now look at Pat McAfee as the next Jerry the King Lawler, or is he a celebrity?
I think he's a Lawler. I think he's got a contract. I think he's like a Lawler, or because I think he's about to bring Corey Graves out of retirement too. Because at the end of that match, he
looked at him, stared down, gave him the crotch chop. Yeah, I think that's your WrestleMania match between the two of them. And that's only if they set that up correctly. Because I mean, like they have to start jaw jacking at each other right now.
All he has to do is start talking about Carmella. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what I'm saying though is that like, okay, one of them's on Raw, one of them on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So sit there and just be like, so I heard Corey Graves is sitting there talking shit about me. So this is what I'm gonna say. Don't sing it, bring it. Like, let's do this at Royal Rumble. And then all of a sudden Corey Graves is gonna be like, well, you know, I'm gonna be having sex with Carmella at Royal Rumble. So I'm not gonna do it at Royal Rumble. I want to do it at the biggest event of the year. Let's do it at WrestleMania, whatever. You know, but anyway, but here's my issue with it is that if all the celebrities win the matches, do the wrestlers really want to wrestle the celebrities? At least when it was like the Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee, you knew Adam Cole was going over.
Yeah. I don't know. I think because and again, to tie that off is 50-50 booking, because what happened to Logan Paul at the end of WrestleMania? Miz turned on him. So he had to come back, I guess, and get his revenge.
Well, you heard why, right?
Why? Why what?
Why the Miz turned on Logan Paul?
Because he didn't want to share the spotlight.
No, Logan Paul's contract actually said that he'd be a babyface by the end of the match. So the Miz turned on him.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Yet when you watch everything leading up to this SummerSlam match, I would have rooted for the Miz.
Okay.
Because I don't like Logan Paul. Right? In fact,
and Matt and go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, in fact, one of the matches I want to talk about is Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan.
Oh, we'll get to that too, because that's gonna.
Oh, are you talking about them in order?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and
the Usos and the Street Profits.
That was next.
Yeah, because it was Usos. Yeah, because this pay-per-view wasn't that long when you think about it.
That was a 4-hour pay-per-view.
Because it doesn't have.
There were 3 5-minute matches, and then everything else was long.
Yeah, this list doesn't have.
It's okay. Because
it doesn't have the Bobby Lashley. Oh wait, I was wrong.
Bobby
McAfee went next.
Theory,
McAfee.
right?
So after Logan Paul, it was Lashley in Theory. I'm sorry.
So
and
what
Lashley did this.
What
Lashley did this. If I was,
Chris Bear is basically saying that there's a financial bonus for being the person that loses to the celebrity, and he's right. I mean, when Big Show had to wear the diaper and faced Aki Bono, he got a big payday.
And when he faced Floyd Money Mayweather,
he got
his nose broke.
He got a really big payday.
He got rocked.
Well, but he told Floyd to go ahead and take a real shot at his face.
Yeah, but I don't think what they said too when he got his nose broken, they said they got Floyd the hell out of there because even though Big Show told him to do it,
he didn't know he was going to break his nose. He thought he was going to hit him in the cheek, and then hit him in the nose, and he broke his nose, and the Big Show was pissed. and I've never seen that big man move that fast. I'll tell you, man. Like that. I mean, that would have scared the shit out of anybody.
So Lashley beat, like I said, Lashley went over Theory.
Not unexpected.
No. Mysterio's and the Judgment Day. Somebody brought up a good point. I was watching something on YouTube and they're like, so for us at home, the Edge thing was a surprise when he came up. But if you're sitting in the crowd, you see them setting this shit up and lighting it on fire, like, oh, Edge is coming. So it wasn't really a surprise to him, you know?
It's funny because you hear that about Saturday night, but Monday night, apparently everybody was shocked to see Edge show up.
Because they didn't have the little what's the thing called? The Gangrels thing going rising out of the fire.
I agree.
Then it was okay. So after that match, then it was Pat.
Well, but you know that match had the moment where Edge basically started spearing everybody and making sure that the Mysterios won.
Yes.
Obviously, more of that happened Monday night, so we'll talk about that for Monday.
So we talked about the Pat and Corbin. Then after the Pat and Corbin, it was the Usos.
Go ahead. Tell me what you thought.
Street Profits should have won it. If they were going to let, which I was surprised, but they were going to let somebody had lose a belt. So if it wasn't Roman, it should have been the Usos.
I don't disagree, especially now that when you think about it, Bianca kept her belt, Lashley kept his belt, the Street Profits lost their championship opportunity, and even
no belts changed hands on this page.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the Intercontinental belt wasn't even on the thing again. For like a year and a half now, it hasn't been on the docket. The only reason why I'm okay with no belts changing hands at this show is because I look at it as a reset. While I would have actually, I would have almost been okay if they pulled. Remember when Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff became in charge of WCW the second time, and they said, we're just going to take all the belts off of everybody and we're going to do a pay-per-view called The New Blood.
Yes.
I almost would have been okay with that. However, that's a disservice to all those people that have been working as hard as they had under Vince McMahon for as long as they had.
True.
So
why not the Street Profits get their
comeuppance?
Yes.
I want to say it's because I believe in long-term storytelling. It's just, truthfully, I think Triple H can figure out what he's going to do about those unified belts.
But I think if last night, and we'll get to it, Montez looked mighty good as a single competitor. Or as you call them, without the Marty Jannetty, Angelo Dawkins of the team.
I mean, Angelo Dawkins is definitely the Marty Jannetty. We know that. He's the Jim the Anvil. In fact, he's not even the Marty Jannetty. He is the Jim the Anvil. That's who Angelo Dawkins is.
Yeah, whatever.
Don't tell me how. Don't say it like that.
He's right. Was it Davey Boy Smith and what's the other one? What's the other dude's name? In the British Bulldogs.
Oh, Dynamite Kid.
Yeah.
No. There's a difference. Like, you look at the dynamic between the two guys, and the dynamic is that you've got one bigger dude who is your powerhouse, the Otis, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the Chad Gable.
Okay. But then the Hart Foundation, I see that, but the Hart Foundation, the Anvil, the bigger guy, is the one with the personality, and then the smaller guy, Brett. The smaller guy, Brett, is more mysterious.
I don't fully agree with that, and I think that Brett gets a raw deal. I mean, I literally just watched the rivals between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and they're talking about how Shawn Michaels was the whole package, and he could sit there and talk and do this and that. And I'm like, Bret Hart could talk. That's why he called himself the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. That's why he sat there and said he was the excellence of execution. That's why
in the ring, there's no talking. They're talking about his performance in the ring.
Who?
Brett, when he said, "I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever be," he's talking about in the ring.
Because that was his catchphrase. That's the Austin 316 says, "I just whipped your ass." That's his line.
Okay.
Like
I got you. Yeah.
He had the charisma. He just didn't have as much charisma as the sexy boy. You know, like, he wasn't ever going to sit there and say, "It's all about sunny days, Brett." You know, he wasn't going to say anything like that because he respected the business more than Shawn Michaels back then.
Mm.
Anyways, so
then after that match, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, let's talk about that match because that was a banger.
I was pissed off at home.
I was pissed off at the end too. In fact, I thought that Montez was the legal man, but then I realized he flat out tagged Angelo Dawkins in, but I didn't think Angelo Dawkins was in the ring when they were trying to pin him. Like, I thought that was Montez. I'm like, wait, what is going? Oh no, that's Angelo. So not nearly as good as their previous matches.
Yeah.
However, the interesting thing about that storyline, Tino, and I don't know if you even know this, is that as of right now, the Street Profits have never once in a tag team match beaten the Usos. Did we talk about that last week?
No, but I knew that though, yeah.
So that's how interesting that is, which means I don't want to see the Street Profits break up because I want to see them actually beat them. And the reason why is because now the WWE has to start really looking for tag teams again.
Yeah.
You have the Usos, you have the Street Profits, and you have the Viking Raiders. Oh, and you have the Mysterios.
New Day.
I have a feeling the New Day is going to start being singles wrestlers.
Why's that?
Because if Triple H was smart, he'd start pushing Kofi to the moon.
I agree. I think they need to don't sleep on Xavier.
Totally agree. However, I say you bring back the Cruiserweight title at the Raw and SmackDown level.
So you don't see Xavier as a world champion?
Don't make me answer that. I'll answer it if you want me to.
What's that? Oh, Chris said that Woods needs to get featured Endeavor. Damn.
Who?
Damn.
King Woods?
Yeah, that's what he just said.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening. I would actually, you know, if there was one person I could see coming back right now, it'd be Saraya, now that we're mentioning Woods. But wait, what? Anyways, when it comes to Kofi and Woods, we now know that Big E is out until after WrestleMania. He said he doesn't need surgery. but his bones aren't calcifying the way that they need to, so that needs to have longer time and everything else. So I'm sure they're probably doing things like whatever kind of treatments they can do to intensify calcifying of the bones, right? With that, I think it's tough because I think back to when Triple H was part of DX and he made fun of Kofi for not having his accent. And I almost think that line was unscripted at the time, and Triple H could get away with it, but Kofi Kingston couldn't, right?
Yep.
Oh man, I just truly think that they are more talented as singles wrestlers who back each other up than they are as a tag team. So there's that. And I think we're already seeing some of that stuff with like the Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch group, right? Like, don't be surprised to see Butch sit there and beat the shit out of Ridge Holland in the next couple weeks and sit there and say, "My name is Pete Dunne, bitch."
If he says that shit.
And if he says it just like that, everybody who watched this show tonight is going to hear about it for a month, because I'm going to sit there and say, even when I was at my worst, I had their booking picked and I knew what was going to happen. But truly, yeah. So what was the next match?
Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey.
I'll hear your opinion.
Again, I thought it was going. I knew that Ronda wasn't going to get the belt back, but I thought it'd have been more of a squash match than it was.
I did not think that I knew that Ronda Rousey was going to get the belt back.
I did, because they're saying because with Sasha gone, they needed that. They were trying to let Liv Morgan be that person.
I thought this was going to be more of like standard WWE booking, where they go, shit, we just gave somebody that everybody wants the title, but we have her going up against Ronda fucking Rousey. So guess what? Ronda's got to go over. I loved it. I loved the fact that the referee was in position just to make the 3 count and did not see Liv Morgan tap out. I fucking loved it. And I loved it because even though currently, technically, based on WWE internal paperwork, Ronda Rousey is looked at as like the top babyface of the women's division, this allowed Liv to maintain the belt. Now, to turn Ronda completely badass heel, this is where you have Sonya Deville come out and tell her that because she's now lost her rematch and the referee's count is final, she's got to work herself back up to that.
Well, Deville's not in management anymore.
Is she not? I thought she still was when she had the jacket on.
No.
Okay, then I don't care. Because if Adam Pearce does it, guess what? Scrap Daddy's getting arm barred.
I want to see Ronda and Shayna.
What's that?
I want to see Ronda against Shayna.
So we all want to see Ronda versus Shayna, but here's the thing. We don't want to see Ronda versus Shayna right now. And you want to know why?
Why?
Because right now, Shayna's at the lowest spot that she's been on in the card the entire time she's been with WWE.
I'm saying build her up. Yeah, build her back up.
So the only way I want to see Ronda versus Shayna right now, tomorrow or Friday night, is if Shayna sits there and locks her in like her submission hold, and she gets Ronda to tap out, because that instantly gives her the credibility again. Now, the problem with that is that Ronda loses a lot of credibility if she loses that match. So Ronda's not Teflon like Seth Rollins. Ronda's not Teflon like Kevin Owens, right?
Right.
So you have to sit there and build Shayna up to that.
Yeah.
The way you do that, Tino, is you actually sit there and have Shayna as a singles competitor running roughshod over the entire Raw women's division, because you currently have three-way matches, three-way teams. So you have Shayna sit there and just take them all out like a fucking sniper. Like all of a sudden, like she stands in the ring with Io Sky, and Io Sky's like, and she's like, yeah. And then just as Io Sky gets ready to grab Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler just throws her in that hold, and she goes, "I'm coming after you, bitch."
After who?
After Bianca Belair.
Okay.
And then Bianca's like, she just backs off, like casually, and sits there, holds the title up, and sits there and says, "You want it, you can come get it, but you got to earn your spot, whatever, that kind of thing." Almost turning Bianca tweener a little bit. But ultimately, what that does is that means that Shayna suddenly becomes like the most devastating woman on the roster. And Triple H will make Shayna Baszler a devastating woman on the roster. Now he may do it as a tag team wrestler first. And I'm okay with that, depending on who they partner her with. She's partnered with Natalya. I'm okay with it, because guess what? Natalya needs to be treated with fucking respect.
Yes.
Woman's been there 20 fucking years. Might as well teach her. Might as well treat her with fucking respect. Anyways, what's the next match?
The main event.
Wow, did it go
Roman?
Then Drew and Roman, or Brock and Roman?
Yep.
So, okay, Tino, I did not see it with sound. So I have to ask, did the timekeeper or the announcer ever actually announce that Theory was cashing in his Money in the Bank? So when he dropped the briefcase, it meant that he no longer was actually in the match, right?
Because he came down, running down, and as he was, well, you saw it, as he was handing it to the referee, before the referee could say, or Tom could say he's doing it, Brock fucked him up. So no, he's still Mr. Money in the Bank.
Okay. Just the way it's supposed to be.
Wait, yeah, and you saw Monday he still had it. So yeah, he's still Mr. Money in the Bank.
But just to be certain, I mean, I wanted to.
Yeah. What do you think of the match?
I know Bleacher did.
And Brock's tractor.
So
I think my favorite part of the match is when he scooped Roman up with that thing, dumped him in the ring, and then just tipped the whole fucking ring over.
So you want to know what my number one statement of the match was?
What?
How is it that this is the first fucking time that there's not a kendo stick, a table, a ladder, a chair? There's nothing under the fucking ring. Like literally, there's nothing under the ring.
I think he did pull a table out from under the ring on the one side during the
match. So they pulled tables out earlier in the night. But my point is that, like, where the fuck was Hornswoggle?
No, but also I think before the match even started, right? Shut up. Before the match even started,
man, let me have my laughter.
They were doing their announcements, and the dude was trying to announce Brock, and he's like, "Shut up!" He grabbed the microphone. He said, "From this corner, from a big old country boy, 275 pounds, ready to whoop Roman Reigns' ass, Brock." And he said, just like Paul, Lesnar.
Did you see when he tossed the microphone back to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns caught that thing without any like he just, and then he winked at him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, motherfucker, I caught that shit. Like I like if you look at my Twitter, I wrote, fuck, just like Steve Austin catching a beer.
Yep.
Because I mean, like, his hand didn't move. His
At
hand
all.
was at his side. That thing landed directly in his hand perfectly, and then he just looked at Brock and went.
I forgot about that.
It's fucking amazing, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't like you would have expected that microphone would have like bounced off the ground or hit him in the chest, like whatever. But the way that Brock threw it, it just landed right at his side in his hand, and then he legitimately looked at him and just winked at him and was like, "Yep." And it was at that moment I knew Brock Lesnar had no chance of winning this match. No, so I'm going to tell you, I'm disappointed in the fact that at this point, we have one guy holding the belts for 2 programs, which kind of feels like lackluster programming.
And he's gone almost to 700. So he's over 2 years.
Well, yeah, but that's only
Close
with
to 2
one of
years.
the belts. He's had the one belt since October of 2 years ago. Because he won it from what, Braun Strowman?
I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he won the SmackDown belt from Braun Strowman in the match against Braun and the Fiend.
Yeah.
But since then, and that was when there was nobody in the audience, right? That was Thunderdome style. The match was great.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar looked like $1 billion, like he always does. The fact that he destroyed Theory was awesome. Here's what I didn't like. Okay, if you read Twitter, Kevin Owens said, "Wait, and there's not just a random stopping of the clock." Because remember, the last time they did a last man standing match, Kevin Owens should have won, and he didn't because they stopped the clock. Here's my problem. In a last man standing match, as long as you are attacking your opponent,
They shouldn't be counting.
the referee does not start the count. So them throwing everything on top of Brock Lesnar should have immediately stopped the count and started over.
Yep.
And I have that problem because it's bad booking.
I thought the same thing.
And so, like I said, I was sitting at the bar and I'm watching it with someone else who doesn't normally watch wrestling. And they're like, "Oh, come on, Rob, it's a 10 count, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, yeah, it's a 10 count. But we've seen Brock Lesnar have a 10 count with shit thrown on top of him, and he's gotten up from it before. This one, he didn't even really have a 10 count because they were already at 5 when they stopped throwing shit on top of him.
Yeah. And then they stood on him. I was like, I think Brock's done. I think that was Brock's last run at that title.
I think it's his last run at the title versus Roman. Here's the thing. Brock's money. This year was at WrestleMania was the 8th time Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns faced each other. This was the 9th time that they faced each other. And yet WrestleMania made more money than any WrestleMania previously. Now, I don't know if that's because the expense of the tickets or what, but it made more money than any other WrestleMania ever, which means these two guys draw against each other. They said this was the final time they'll face each other. And I would agree with that up to the point that we do or don't know whether or not Brock Lesnar should come back to win the Royal Rumble, because if Cody can't,
They need to build somebody else up.
we hope. We hope. I mean, and here's the other side of it. Drew McIntyre won the opportunity to face the champion at Clash at the Castle, which is where?
Oh, he's going to win. It's in, yes, in
Glasgow,
UK.
Scotland?
No, it's in Wales.
So I mean, it's UK though.
Yeah, UK.
So it's his hometown,
Yep.
or as close as you get to it for that big of a venue. Everybody already says that Drew got a Raw deal by being a two-time WWE champion with no fans. So why not throw him a bone?
I think they will. That's what I think. I think that's where he's going to lose the title.
Clash at the Castle. I mean, it's not a regular event. So I mean, could they? Sure. Could they pull the old swerve jammy that I love the idea of? And I've said this in the past, Tino. I would love for them to sit there and pull a swerve to where it looks like Drew walks out with the championship, and then Friday night, Paul Heyman comes out and goes, "Well, hold on just a second there. I was talking to the law offices in the back, and unfortunately, due to the fact that the match happened after 12:30 in the morning, American time, it does not actually put, something bullshit like that, like whatever, like that Paul Heyman would come up with something better than that, but like to be able to sit there and go, due to the fact that the referee was not actually the sanctioned referee for the match, Drew McIntyre is not the undisputed champion, and then they give it back to Roman.
I don't know that bullshit neither.
I don't know, man. Like,
Sounds
I've already told you that when you do stuff like that, it makes the heel a worse heel. And right now, people are cheering Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
How do you get them to stop? How do you get them to stop acknowledging him? You got to pull some heel bullshit again.
I don't think that. As long as he's got Heyman, I don't think they will.
Well, as long as he's got Heyman, I mean, they're gonna cheer him because every time he goes, "My name is Paul Heyman," the entire crowd cheers it.
Yeah. All right, let's hit on Raw real quick because I'm running out of shit.
Really? Okay.
And we're already almost an hour and a half in. I'm usually done by now.
Wow. Okay. So, Monday Night Raw. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I didn't watch it all.
What?
Didn't watch it all. I got to finish watching it.
I think I fell asleep during some of it because it was late. I was singing karaoke. But let's go ahead and talk about the stuff that needs to be talked about. All right? Here's the deal. Last night, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. Did you see it?
Yeah, it started off with Becky was in the ring trying to pass the torch, I guess. And then Bayley came out. And no, she's trying to pass the torch. She went in the back. They jumped her, Baby and Bayley, Io, and Dakota jumped Becky Lynch. She ran out there. She came back. Then she ran in the back to check on her. Then the next match was Asuka and your girl Alexa. Then Bayley and company came out and jumped her. That's when Bianca came out and challenged. She said, "I don't care who it is. I want one of you." And then Io stepped up. So
I'm going to start this by actually talking about we skipped JC Penny. I'm going to start by saying that the one person that benefits from Becky Lynch being out right now is Alexa Bliss. Because I don't think she was going to be part of this three-way group. I think it was going to be Bianca, Asuka, and Becky.
Really?
Yeah.
You think Asuka?
Yeah. I think that if you look back at the history between Triple H and Alexa Bliss was always the outcast in NXT. Now, I'm not saying that I know that for a fact or anything, but I do know that she's. Shut up, Alexa.
Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Something went wrong. Yeah, no shit. Reminds me of something that's gonna make me upset, but it's gonna make me laugh too, but make me upset. But so anyway, the idea here is that Bliss, I think Triple H would have had to try to figure out where to fit her in.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that ideally Bailey, Io, and Dakota were probably being matched up against Becky, Bianca, and Asuka.
Okay.
So I think Becky being out with the bad separated shoulder opens up rooms for Alexa. Now I could be wrong, except she's the only one that doesn't really seem like she fit in that moment.
I'm trying to think.
Like just the way that they showed up and everything. Like
Yeah.
the other ones all seem like they would be like, you know what, I'm here to we're gonna take care of this. You know what I mean?
The way the announcers put it off is they wanted revenge because they got jumped earlier in the night, so that's why they were backing Bianca up.
Now here's the other side of this whole thing. Becky walking out wearing the full thing that doesn't let her arm move, and then getting beat up backstage. We already know she's hurt. Like it would have been better if she came out without the thing and said, "Yeah, something's not feeling right, whatever." Had the whole hold on. Had the whole conversation. Sat there shaking with the left hand because obviously she can't shake with the right hand because the right hand's the busted wing, and then gone backstage and had them totally tear it up. The fact that they sat there and put her in the chair and all that, like, we already knew she's busted up.
I think that I'm okay with that because that was Bailey being a chicken shit heel, going for the obvious hurt arm. You know what I mean? I was okay with that. I didn't have a problem with that.
I'll grant you that. I just thought that the better storytelling would have been the way that it's like, oh, I got a hurt neck, so all of a sudden they put your head in the chair and they smack the chair one time. You like that would have been, to me, would have made more of a statement. Becky walking out already with her arm in a sling, knowing that she's not going to be able to participate. Like, I would have loved it if she sat there out and said, I want a match against Bianca Belair. Bianca sitting there saying, you know what? Let's run it again. And then all of a sudden her being beaten down backstage. Because I think it would have done more for the babyface turn. Okay. Now, granted, I think Becky's speech and everything was good enough. But I think her showing the grit of everyone knowing the dirt sheets wise that she had a bum wheel.
So you're pulling the Cody.
Would have done more. Now, granted, she can't go. They've told her not to go. So you do the backstage segment, which puts her on the shelf, right? That's how I would have done it. Okay. And I'm okay with what they did, but like I said, I think it would have added more to the babyface turn that, while in full effect, doesn't have as much of an effect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's that. Other things in the night, they did 2 triple threat matches to determine who's going to be the next person to go after the United States Championship. And the
why don't you just do Huh?
The first of those matches was AJ Styles versus Mustafa Ali versus The Miz. And Mustafa Ali did this backflip off the top rope into a Styles clash.
Yes. And
And
stop
then got
on the
landed
Miz.
right on The Miz, and AJ
Beautiful.
won that match. And that is what you want to see from AJ's. Like you know that Triple H was sitting there going, man, I wish I had AJ Styles in NXT. You know that he's thinking that. He's like, could you imagine him if he had been at War Games the last 3 years? Fuck. You know,
Yeah.
like that's what he was thinking right there,
Yeah.
right? Because that right there was a bigger moment from AJ Styles since he went up against The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The biggest move he's had since that moment. Okay. Interestingly enough, though, the second of those matches, who was in it?
Ciampa. Sheesh. And who else was in that? Ciampa, Shoosh. Ciampa, Gable. Who else was in that match?
I don't even know. But I do know who won that match.
Yes.
Tommaso Ciampa. And then they had a third match where it was AJ Styles versus Tommaso Ciampa. And guess who won that match?
Ciampa. I was surprised.
I was not.
The Miz tried his best to, when he was hiding, he was holding AJ's leg. So AJ couldn't get back out of the timekeeper's area.
But overall,
so does Ciampa beat Lashley? He's an NXT guy. He's a Triple H guy.
So you want my real opinion here?
He's gonna, yeah.
Is it next week?
Yep.
Okay. If it's next week, I think that Ciampa does win with the Miz's help and with Theory getting involved.
Ooh, yeah.
At the same time, I almost see Ciampa immediately turning on the Miz.
So does that make him face or make Miz heel or make Miz face?
Well, the Miz is always a heel.
So Ciampa be face.
I think that.
But no, because Lashley's got to have his rematch.
Well, Lashley may push off his rematch to get a shot at Miz. You know what I mean?
Steve Barrett says Theory tries to cash in on Ciampa. I think Theory's going for that world title. I don't think he's going to worry about a U.S. strap.
Nobody's ever going to cash in on a secondary belt, especially the Intercontinental belt, which hasn't even been on a pay-per-view in a year and a half now. Maybe
no,
two.
well, it's the U.S. It'd be the U.S. strap,
which they do seem to put on the pay-per-views. I really think that they'll figure out a way to have Bobby Lashley sit there and go, I'm just going to go after the Money in the Bank now. Because I trust Bobby Lashley with the Money in the Bank briefcase more than I trust Theory with the Money in the Bank briefcase. So I kind of think that's how you get him to not go after Ciampa. You get the Miz and Ciampa going against each other. And you get Ciampa actually over by doing that.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I see it all going. All right. Show ends because I I'm trying to think of what else happened, but the main thing was the Usos versus the Mysterios. And as this match happened, the Usos won the match. Not unexpected. Not unexpected at all. Usos win the match, and then
Judgment Day
comes down. And while Judgment Day is down trying to attack the Mysterios, Edge's music hits. Edge comes running down. Edge goes to spear Damian Priest, and
Rhea pushes
Dominic into the way.
So does this cause trouble with Ray and Mysterio? I mean, Ray and Edge?
So I'm going to say that the next pay-per-view or Clash at the Castle or whatever the fuck it is, you're going to see a 6-man match. Maybe an 8-man match. I don't know. Maybe there is a new member of Judgment Day at that match. Maybe it's a handicap match. I don't know. But I would assume it's going to be Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Beth Phoenix, and Edge versus Judgment Day. And that's where I think we get Dominic Mysterio to turn.
Something else too, and that just made me think about the Judgment Day and the Mysterios. Buddy Murphy put out a tweet, which I didn't know he was dating Rhea Ripley, but he said it was interesting. Yeah, he's dating Rhea Ripley in real life. So they were saying how when Rhea Ripley entered that room with Mysterio's 20th anniversary, and she faced off against Aaliyah. He was like, they can fight over me anytime, because you got his on-screen girlfriend and his real-life girlfriend facing off.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. But that was the end of Raw.
Yeah.
So
Chris Bear's asking about Ric Flair. I haven't seen it. That link you sent me, I clicked on it, and it said it wasn't there, and it couldn't show it anymore because something about copyright. I don't know. So I still haven't seen it. So you've seen it. So what?
So I saw Ric Flair's last match. Anybody who bet the over-under on bleeding and crying, unfortunately, only got half of that.
I was watching one of my YouTube people I watched. They were like, they said it was rough. They said he was already limping to the ring, and they said he was gassed out to the point where at the end of the match, he could barely, I guess someone had to put the brass nuts on for him, and the figure 4 just didn't look right. They're like, he didn't go out. It wasn't a good note to go out on.
So let me put it this way. You're correct. 73-year-old Ric Flair did not have the cardio to go this match. He started the match. He looked okay. Jay Lethal actually gave him a vertical suplex at some point during the match.
Oh my God.
And you know how normally it looks like the guy going up for the vertical suplex is helping?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't look like Rick was helping. Jay Lethal, boom, like nailed him with the move and whatever. But at the same time, it was one of those things where it's like, okay. Here's the deal. He's 73 years old. The production value for a non-AEW, non-WWE promotion production was actually very good. I was kind of blown away by it. I mean, the commentators for the match were Tony Schiavone and David Crockett.
Okay.
The match itself, when Jay Lethal and Andrade were in the ring, was solid. Jeff Jarrett looked like $1 million, which I can't believe my mouth just said that, and will never say it again. He literally looked like $1 million. I mean, he looked amazing. He had abs, dude.
Oh damn.
Okay. Karen Jarrett was a bitch at the ringside. Like she just Ric Flair, shut the fuck up and blah blah blah. Like I mean, constantly, and you could hear her with the microphones they had. Jeff Jarrett was the best part of the match. Chris Barrett says that it was WWE produced. So I'm going to say this: the music that they used for Ric Flair was his WWE music. He actually came down wearing a, like what they said was a $40,000 robe. He had the NWA like the big, they called it the big belt. That he had the big championship belt around his waist when he came down to the ring. He started the match. Jeff Jarrett kept like toying with him, and then he slapped in Jay Lethal, and then Jay Lethal sat there and kind of ran his way with him for a while. And I agree, Jeff Jarrett was probably the best part of the match because he kept like yelling at him and stuff. He's like, "You're not a horseman. You're not a horseman anymore."
Oh my God.
But then towards the end of the match, so the match ends, and do you mind if I go ahead and tell you how it ends? Okay. So Ric Flair is just like laid out. He's laid out, dude. Like he can't breathe. He's literally sitting there going, "Somebody get me a CPAP." Like he's literally just laid out in the middle of the ring, and all of a sudden, like Jeff Jarrett comes into the ring with the guitar, and Jay Lethal picks Ric Flair up, and he's holding him, and El Idolo pulls Ric Flair so that Jay Lethal gets hit with the guitar, right? Ric Flair falls right back down to the ground because he's got nothing left, man. Like, he's got nothing. He's just laying on the ground, and El Idolo comes in, and he's got brass knuckles on. And it's like, who gave him the brass knuckles? Was that Conrad Thompson that gave him the brass knuckles? Oh, rumors and innuendo. He gave him the brass knuckles. Yeah, like, so he walks in with the brass knuckles, and he's like looking at him, and he goes up to Rick, and he puts the brass knuckles, but Rick is still laid out, dude. So Jeff Jarrett, so like fucking Jay Lethal gets back in the ring, and Andrade like throws him out, and then he gives Jeff Jarrett like a super kick to the face, and at this point Rick is like and he gets up and he's just like boom. And he hits Jeff Jarrett, but there's no referee because the referee got knocked out. Mike Chioda got knocked out, like Mike Chioda does, right? So Rick finally puts on the four, but he's just laying like this. So the referee comes up and he's like 1, 2, 3, and he counts Jeff Jarrett out, and it's like, bro, Rick Flair was out too. So then after the match, like they've got confetti falling and everything else. They finally get Ric Flair up on his 2 feet, and Tony Schiavone's holding him up, and Tony Schiavone's like, "Rick, this is your final match. What do you got to say about it? You can bleed on me all you want. Go ahead. It's your moment, brother." And Ric Flair's like, "Brother, I got to tell you, it was amazing knowing that Kid Rock came into the dressing room. Fuck if that didn't give me more pressure than I already had. This is my last match. I'm not doing this again. Didn't think that I could ever do it twice, but I did, and this one was even better than the other one because my 25 grandkids are here." But dude, in the audience, if you hadn't heard, Diamond Dallas Page, The Undertaker, Mick Foley, and Bret Hart are all sitting first and second row. Diamond Dallas Page couldn't pay for first row. But even weirder, The Undertaker, Mick Foley, and Bret Hart all got like strolled in like 10 minutes before the match. Like they weren't sitting there the entire, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right guys, time for you to go. These seats are claimed for someone else. and it was Undertaker, Mick Foley, and Bret Hart, which I find kind of interesting because Bret Hart never liked Ric Flair. And you hear all the time where he's like, Ric Flair was a hack, Ric Flair was this, Ric Flair was. But he was there to watch Ric Flair's last match. So I don't know if that's.
They might not like him, but they might have respected him, you know.
It might be fake heat, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even Foley. Foley, up until he had that match with Ric Flair in, 2003? Like, Flair kept calling him a glorified stuntman.
Stuntman, yeah.
You know, so and of course the Undertaker, like the only thing that they can say about him is that Ric Flair went into that match without any confidence, and the Undertaker made him feel like Ric Flair again. So, not a bad match. I mean, it's not going to win awards for best match of the year. It's not going to get a Dave Meltzer 5-star rating or anything like that. You know? But the fact of the matter is that, like, everyone that took part in that match did their part to really sell it.
All right.
You know, and at the end when they carted Rick out because Rick had to be like carried out because he was going out on his own 2 feet, but carrying him out, Jay Lethal and Andrade actually both put his shoulders on him and walked him out. So even one of his opponents sat there and said, Nature Boy, you know that I love you and you know I respect you. I actually prepared you for this match, blah, 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 whatever. And then he walked him out. So I mean, like the ultimate sign of respect, just like Undertaker versus Triple H at WrestleMania 29 or whatever, where you know it was the end of the era, and Shawn Michaels and him walked the Undertaker out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, bro. That's what I got.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Thanks, guys, for being in the chat, for hanging with us. We appreciate it. You can check that fool out on the Twitter machine. He is at Podcheck. I'm HoodieFan91. You can check him out on the Instagram. He is Rob Potsy Podcheck. He is Rob Podcheck, and I believe it's the I'm tired. I'm sorry. Junior High Horrors. You can also check him out on the TikTok is Rob Podcheck. You can check us out on Twitter. We're Potsy and Tino. Facebook, we're the Potsy and Tino Show. You can see us here each and every Tuesday night right here on the Pots and Pans Network. Please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and buy our shit. As always, we want to say thank you to Adam's House Cats for the wrestling song. You can find that on iTunes for 99 cents, 99. And until then, folks, that's Potsy. I'm Tino. We're out, and we're always thinking. Ooh, yeah, dig it.
Everybody wants to be the next tomorrow, but I am the man of the hour, the tower of power. You swing to me sour, make it swing. Like Jerry Power, there have been many imitations, but only one, Nature Boy. I am the greatest thing going today. Whether you like it or not, you better learn to love it. Because whether you like it or not, I am
King Booker.